So something interesting came out yesterday that I want to touch on a little bit when it comes to the Packers and Jets. And I'll just read right here from Acme Packing Company Packers blog. They sort of sum it up well. So basically this guy named Charles Robinson, who is a NFL reporter for Yahoo News, had some interesting information to share on this Packers show. So here it is. According to Yahoo Sports' Charles Robinson, who made an appearance on Wild and Tausch for ESPN Radio Wisconsin on Wednesday, the New York Jets once had a better offer on the table than what they currently accept from the Green Bay Packers for quarterback Aaron Rodgers. As Robinson put it, the Jets once were willing to give up a 2023 second-round pick and a 2024 first-round pick without any clauses before Rodgers' appearance on the Pat McAfee show, where he famously stated that his intention was to play for New York in 2023. So what's happened since then? According to Robinson, who has previously reported that the Jets have turned their 2024 offer into a conditional second-round pick and would like a 2025 choice in return should Rodgers retire in 24, Rodgers' announcement that he was 90% retired going into his darkness retreat was news to New York, who had already visited him in person in Malibu by that point in the offseason. So if this is true, they're basically saying that the Jets initially had the second-round pick in 2023 on the table and a 2024 first-round pick, and the only thing that changed their mind when it came to that was that Rodgers said he was going to be 90% retired. So that's maybe the Jets are a little bit worried that he would just come for one season then retire. But at the same time, for the past 3 seasons, year after year, there has been this big waiting period where Rodgers every single year has had to decide, does he want to play again or does he want to retire? So I don't feel like the Jets were honestly that shocked when they heard he was 90% retired because I think every year you don't know what Rodgers is going to do. You don't know if he's going to come back. You don't know if he's going to retire because I think honestly, every single year, Rodgers himself doesn't know when the season ends. At least the past couple of years, he hasn't known what's going to happen. And so I don't think that for whatever reason the Jets had 100% confidence he would play for 2 seasons. They had to know that after 2023, there was probably a big chance Rodgers would contemplate whether he was going to play again or retire. So they had to, at least I think, they probably already knew that there was a chance he could not play in 2024. So did him saying 90% retired really change their mind? Maybe it did. But at the same time, I'm not so sure. Who knows, though? Now to finish it off, as far as giving up that unconditional first-round pick goes, though Robinson stated, Woody Johnson is not going to do it. Robinson also noted that a first-round pick swap has been discussed, with the Packers potentially moving up from the 15th overall pick to the 13th overall pick in the 2023 draft. Allegedly, both teams are trying to acquire 2024 draft value in the off chance that their quarterback situations don't pan out and they need to get in on the race for Caleb Williams or Drake May, the top 2 quarterbacks in next year's class. There's a good chance that Williams and May individually will be considered better than any quarterbacks in the 2023 and 2022 draft classes by the time they're eligible to declare. So he's saying Woody Johnson is not going to give that unconditional 2024 first-round pick, and it seems like the Packers potentially want it. We heard Brian Gutekunst in the past couple weeks say that he doesn't necessarily need a first-round pick. But honestly, looking at the situation, I'm wondering if this is true. If the Jets really think this, or if this is like the Jets' leverage to try to show, we were going to give you a first-round pick, but Rodgers said he's 90% retired, so now we can't do that. Part of me wonders if it's just the Jets feeding information to sort of, show why they no longer want to give the first, as if they did in the past. And again, it could be true. It's just we just don't really know what is true. But I feel like the Jets, this could be their way of trying to, get some kind of leverage, which is a word everyone's been using, but get some kind of leverage to sort of show like we would have done it if Rodgers, for sure was going to play in 24. So I get why they would want some 2025 draft compensation back, but I don't know. I think just looking at this entire situation, if the Jets really want Rodgers, they'll end up trading for him. And I think when you look at what Bakhtiari brought up the other day, was that yesterday? He brought up the third scenario that he thought in his mind, that if the Jets and Packers couldn't come to an agreement and the Packers didn't want to give Rodgers up for what they thought was, not enough value, they could literally just pay him to not play, have him not play, but pay him his $60 million in 2023. And I said yesterday, if the Packers were actually willing to do that, I think that if it came time for 2023 to start, I feel like the Jets will cave at the final moment because I think they've built it up so much, but they say they're not willing to, give up that first-round pick, which maybe the Packers still want, maybe they don't. Who really knows exactly what's happening behind closed doors? Because sometimes I think sometimes what's put out in the media is true, sometimes it's not, and we just never for sure know what is real until, something actually happens. So I think right now, looking at this situation, Rodgers has said that he, a few weeks ago that he wants to play for the Jets. But we also heard in the past couple of weeks, there was that rumor, potentially true, who knows, that the San Francisco 49ers potentially were a team that if it fell through with the Jets could come in and get Rodgers. And part of me is wondering, let's say the 49ers were actually willing to give up, let's say, because they don't have a first or second, I believe, in 23. Let's say they gave up, a couple third rounders and a first in 2024. The Packers could say, okay, Jets, you don't want to give us that one. The 49ers are actually willing to. So we'll go ahead with the 49ers. And the Packers could talk with Rodgers and say to Rodgers, we know you want to play for the Jets. I'm sorry, Rodgers. They don't want you bad enough to give a first-round pick. You can either, we'll either pay you and you just won't play for us in 23, or you can go to your, hometown team, the 49ers, a team that's pretty much built to win a Super Bowl, and you'll get to go play there, have a great time in California, and we'll get the compensation that we think we deserve, that first-round pick. And I think in that scenario, Rodgers could say, okay, fine, I'll go to the San Francisco. That's just a random idea, considering there have been those rumors about that, because if the Packers were really willing to, not trade Rodgers, Rodgers could, sort of say, okay, fine, I want to go somewhere else and play, so yeah, I'll let you do that. I'll go play for them. I wonder if that could happen, and I think that I hope that that's something that the Packers will be open to if the 49ers do want Rodgers. Maybe they don't, but maybe they do. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here and watch. Maybe like in a few days a trade comes out and all this was nonsense. Who knows? We just don't know what's going to happen, and it's sort of interesting, of course, to follow along and see the information flowing out, trying to decipher what's real, what's not, and then we'll see. We'll see what happens. I have no clue. All we can do is speculate. But that is all I have for this video. Subscribe if you want to see more Packers content, Aaron Rodgers, trade news, all that kind of stuff is on this channel. So feel free to subscribe down below. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.